Hi, everyone. I'm Carolyn Moor with the Modern Widows Club, and today we have a webinar series called Creating a New Work Life in Widowhood, Where to Start. And we have an excellent speaker today, Shelley Hastings. She's actually a fellow Wister. I think we met on LinkedIn. I can't remember, but we meet Wisters who have great skills that they share with our community. And today, I'm just going to share a little bit about her, and then we're going to get started. At the end, we're going to have a Q&A, and it's going to be a great time together. So Shelley, wave your hand, Shelley. Is a professional coach and the founder of Synergy Empowerment Coaching. She's doing business as your hospitality partner. She specializes in helping individuals to achieve transformational growth through traveling with purpose, and hospitality leaders to achieve business growth through 5-star excellence. Shelley is a contributing author of Forbes and training industry publications. She completed her MBA degree, and then she earned her credentials as an event planner and certified career executive business marketing coach. She also, I found out just recently that she worked as an advisor, like a college advisor. So she's worked with a lot of people and working through strategically to through transitions in their life. And so I thought it would be really great to have Shelley come and help all of you with this really important topic of creating a new work life in widowhood. I did that in widowhood. I went from a big interior design firm to a smaller design firm to then transitioning to actually launching Modern Widows Club. So I know that this is not an easy process, but it is possible, and finding purpose and meaning is the driver. So let me go ahead and turn it over to Shelley. Hello.
Hi everyone. How are you? It's so nice to be here today. I'm very excited about being able to share information with you, and I'm actually very excited about sharing my day with you. Today would be my 33rd wedding anniversary, and so I thought, what better way to spend it than to be able to help widows who are going through the journey, especially with a career change or looking at entrepreneurship and different things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and actually share my screen with you so that you can see my PowerPoint. Let me just get this started. So what I want to talk about today is creating a new work life in widowhood and where to start. And so I know that for some people, they have been able to stay in the same career or job, but for others, that's not necessarily been the case. Widowhood makes so many changes financially and other ways that it really does sometimes impact people where they need to actually change careers as well, or they just want to start to work toward that dream career as they're looking at their future. So I have a question to ask you. So what do you think of when you see this? I know for me, I wish I had more of it. So I thought that this was really appropriate for today, because today is actually hashtag Be a Millionaire Day. And so I was wondering how many of you actually have that as your dream. It is possible. It is totally possible. When I became widow, which was 15 years ago, I never thought that I could dream that anymore. But as I worked through different things, I was actually fully able to realize that when you make up your mind and then find a way to be able to do it, it is totally possible. The reason that I felt that way, as many of you may have, is that according to the Women's Institute for Secure Retirement, household income generally declines by about 40% after the death of a spouse. And so that can vary, of course, depending upon whether someone is a stay-at-home parent or whether or not they own a business together. There can be all different variables, but for the most part, 40% decline. And so it's important to be able to develop your dream career or your business around widowhood, and that can help to mitigate this loss of income. One of my favorite quotes, especially after I became a widow, and it just became one of my mottos, is when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. And so I felt that was very appropriate to be able to start looking at my life after widowhood that way. And I've used this basically as my GPS to be able to navigate through widowhood and be able to actually make decisions that are going to be in my best interest, both in my career and in my life. So today, I'm going to be able to help you outline the first steps and how to achieve your dream career. Um, Sometimes before widowhood, we have a different situation that we're dealing with our career, or maybe we just didn't think that much about it. There can be many different variables that can happen um, that can change, obviously, once you become a widow. So, some of the occupational landscape that's out there for a variety of people prior to widowhood is they can be a homemaker, a stay at home parent, they can be a freelancer. They might work shift work. And that can be challenging, after widowhood if you do have children that you have to worry about daycare and things like that. You may have a career that involves extensive travel. You may have a career with no benefits. The husband may carry all the benefits. You can be a corporate executive and work many, many hours. You can be a solopreneur, or you can even own a business with your spouse. And then after widowhood, basically a lot of things happen. You have that insufficient income because now you're head of household. You might not have the work-life balance that you need. You may have um, the extensive travel may actually become almost impossible because you need to be there for children or for aging parents, and you're not able to do that because you don't have anyone to share that with. You may have to relocate. After widowhood, you may have to relocate for a job that may interfere with taking care of other family members. You may have a toxic work culture. These are many, many reasons why someone might choose to change their career path or even look at actually opening a business as they go through widowhood and look toward what they want their future to look like as the sole breadwinner in their house. Um, and so, with that, what we're going to work on today is actually we're going to work on three different goals. And I want to work with you to assess where you currently are in your career business. Um, we're going to work on determining what your ideal work life would look like to you, and that's different for everyone. And then explore options to achieve that dream. So right now, I want you to just grab a piece of paper, and we're going to take just a minute or two. And what I would like for you to do is actually just write down where you currently are in your career or business. And then I would like for you to write down where you ultimately would like to be in your career or business. And you might not know exactly, but if you do, go ahead and put it down. If not, put the first thing that comes to your mind that you think it might be, because many times it ends up being that impulse that is really that secret desire that's inside of you. And then last, I want you to just list what obstacles are holding you back. And so just take a couple of minutes and jot those things down, and then we'll go ahead and move forward.
I'm typing everything into the chat. So if you can't see the presentation, you can look over in the chat.
Thank you. We're good, just about one more minute.
And if anybody wants to add their questions into the chat, they can and share, because I'd be so curious to see what the answers are to some of these questions, especially the obstacles one.
Right. Yes, this is not homework where you have to turn it in, but the more that you share, the more there's an opportunity for me to be able to actually answer your questions one-on-one. Okay, we'll go ahead and move forward. So the important thing to take away from this, I want you to be able to return to this and actually be able to just evaluate this when you have a little bit more time. This was a good starting point for you. And the key that you're really going to look for as you work through this is that question number 3, the obstacles. What's holding you back? Because the obstacles, or look at the obstacles as the gap between where you are now and where you want to arrive. And that's where you start working, is in that gap. And if you're not really sure a direction that you would like to take, a vision board is very, very helpful. And there are actually a couple of ways that you can do this. This is actually a copy of my vision board that I did this year, and I have it on my laptop. It's the screensaver, and I created it in Canva, and you can get a free version of Canva. And I created it in Canva, and so every day when I open up my laptop, I see this, and it's a constant reminder. But for those who have that creative side to them, you also can just make your own vision board as a creative, like an art project. And so just cut out with magazines what you want your life to look like. Does it include money? Does it include living by the beach, in the mountains? You know, what would you like that to look like? And just put that on your vision board. Maybe you want to incorporate exercise if you've not been doing that. And so when we were talking earlier about the hashtag Be a Millionaire Day, you'll see on mine I have Think and Grow Rich. That's actually the name of a book by Napoleon Hill. It's very excellent read. But it's about the mindset and how you can become rich through the process of thinking through different things and changing your actions and changing your mindset. And so think about doing a vision board. That's just a planning tip that can help you to move forward. And a lot of people make a vision board actually once a year. So they can assess where they are, like at the end of the year and starting a new year, and use that to move forward. So one of the things that comes up when you're thinking about obstacles is what are the steps to creative career problem solving? Sometimes it's really hard to figure what direction you need to go in. Where do you start? You know, so many directions. Where do you start first? And so basically, this is just kind of a quick step-by-step guide. First is envision your dream career, dream jobs. If it's entrepreneurship, you know, the business. So what is your dream business? So envision what that is, and then you're going to set SMART goals around that to be able to start to work through the process of actually achieving that. But you have to know what your goal is, what you envision, so that you can actually set those goals. And then you're going to create an action plan from that. And that's to be able to work through step by step the things that need to be done. And then obstacles will come up. So figuring a way to work through the obstacles. So now that you've had a moment to think about it, what would your ideal work life look like? Do you want a widowhood friendly career where you have different, flexibility within the workplace, with an environment and leadership that understands the unique challenges of widowhood? Do you want the flexibility of entrepreneurship where you can set your own hours, be able to create your own work, create your own income? So, what could a career in widowhood look like? if you were to have a career previously and now you're having to work around new career needs, some of those might be work life balance, scheduling flexibility that might not have been important before. You might need a higher salary to make up for that 40% gap. On site daycare might be important. Free educational benefits. That's actually something that was, I was very fortunate to take advantage of. My employer offered that. And so that's how I was able to actually get my degrees, was going through using that educational benefit. Having a work from home option. A lot of people have had that in 2020 if they're still working. However, now in 2021, people are starting to have to go back into work. And so does that work for you? Is that something that, is something that you can work easily and conveniently, or do you need to actually look for a permanent work from home option if you're required to go back into the office? And then what other personal factors are important for you to consider? So, what were your career goals before? Do you want to work toward the same goals? What are your career values? What do you envision that career looking like? What about your skill level? Do you need new skills? Are you good with the skills that you have? What education do you need to get into that? And what is the motivation for your career? And if you're thinking about entrepreneurship, what can that look like in widowhood? So the first thing you want to do is think about what your business vision is. Do you want something large? Do you want something small? Do you want to start from scratch? Do you want a business that's ongoing? What if you and your spouse had owned a business together? Do you want to keep that same business, or do you want to do something different? And then one of the considerations in widowhood is, what is the best work life balance solution for you? So being a home based solopreneur may be something that is very appealing to you. So you can be there when the children get home from school, or if you have a parent and you're giving in home care to a parent, leaving your pets. People like to be home based, especially this year. We saw a lot of videos where people have their pets in the background. Would you be interested in purchasing a fully staffed business? So you don't have to worry about hiring people. You purchase an ongoing entity that's fully staffed and ready to go, and you can just manage it. Do you want to involve older children in your business? That's a good way to still be able to spend time with them and make money and teach them responsibility. So that's always an option that you could consider. Do you want to outsource work so that you only focus on your strengths and you outsource your weaknesses? And do you want to build an internal team? So do you want to start from scratch and actually build a team that can support you and your goals in your business so that you have that work-life balance that you're looking for? Some other special considerations if you are thinking about starting a business, and Carolyn mentioned this earlier on during her introduction, is what is your why? What is your passion and purpose if you want a business? Because when you are the owner, solopreneur, leader, manager, whatever that leadership position is, um, you need to be able to have your passion in it to be able to do the work that's necessary, because it is so different to be an entrepreneur than it is to be an employee. There is a mindset shift with that. And then, are you serving your purpose? You know, many times when someone goes through a loss, they really start to think about what their purpose is. They may not have ever thought about that before, but it points out how quick life can be, and really working to your purpose is so important, because then you can really pour your passion into it. The financial resources that you have, the time commitments that you already have, that's something to consider. The childcare needs that I mentioned before. What is your expectation of the outcomes of the business? What are you hoping for? Do you want to leave a legacy? Do you want to involve the children in it? Do you want to give back to the community? Do you want to use it to make a lot of money? What is it that your purpose is for the outcomes of the business? And then the knowledge, training, and experience that you need to get into it, especially if you are stepping into something that's an ongoing entity. And one planning tip when you're trying to think about what it is that you might want to do is you can create a mind map. And a mind map, basically, you think of your main idea or topic. And so what that's going to be is your the career goal, so your dream career or dream business. And then all around it, you use either sticky notes or just draw little circles, but all the different ideas that you have. And this is a great way to brainstorm and go back and look at each of them and see how they tie into that main idea or topic of that dream career. And you can eventually pick away at those either by completing those or by eliminating those, depending upon how much they really pertain once you get your main idea or topic down pat. So once you decide what that dream career or entrepreneurship would look like to you. So now we're going to take another moment, and I just want you to, as we've had an opportunity to just kind of start the thought processes going a little bit, I want you to write an outline of what your ideal job description is. So we're just going to take about 2 minutes again, and just go ahead and write down your ideal job title would be, a short list of what those duties would be or your main focus, what qualifications you think you would need to be able to do that. Very important. What do you want your work schedule to be? You know, are you a night owl? Are you an early bird? Do you like to work weekends? Do you like shift work? So what would you like your work schedule to be? Location. Do you want to be, remote work? Do you want to be at a specific location? Do you want to be at one location and travel to different places? Your ideal compensation, because that's the dollar amount that you strive to get. So your ideal compensation and your ideal benefit package. So just jot a couple of ideas down. We're just going to take about 2 more minutes for you to be able to do that and have a moment to just stop and think about it. And then you can finish it later and actually finalize that process as you work through what your goals are. So we'll take just about 2 minutes.
I love this. Hey, Shelley. I'm looking at this list going, okay, so I want to be a visionary. I want my duties to delegate and
Good.
run my Widows Club. What are my qualifications? I feel like I have a PhD in widow research. It's like my work schedule. I want to wake up late, go to bed late. I want to work wherever I want to work from, be paid a lot of money and have every benefit.
Good.
I love it. And I want everybody to. I'm going to put on
it's absolutely so possible. It is
right?
so possible.
Right. Well, I did. I actually wrote all this down, and it slowly, I built traction, and it was all very small goals that met up to this. Okay. So I'm going to put on some music.
Great. And then is there a way for them to save the chat so they can have some different?
Yeah, they'll be saved.
Perfect. Been able to come up with a couple of ideas, and this is a work in progress. So be thinking about it. Things may occur to you later. So keep this as a working document so that you can go back to it. So some of the steps to be able to explore new career or business options would be to assess your current skill set and resources. So you always want to know where you're starting from. What do you have now? And that doesn't mean that that is a limitation. It means that it is a starting point to be able to create new goals, new aspirations, look at the different ways that you can advance yourself And then what resources do you have? And that's in terms of like if you wanted to work from home, do you have a home office? It can be financial. Do you have the means to be able to start a business? Do you have the capital, the initial outlay of cash to be able to buy equipment? So, first, you're going to assess your current skill set and your resources so you know where you're starting. And then from there, you're going to determine your new skills needed, and then you're going to calculate the additional resources needed. So both your skills and your resources, you want to determine what those are. And then you're going to work at finding or creating your new opportunities. So that can either be you use this information to start to look for new work, to know what different kinds of things that you want to look for in your next work, but also creating opportunities can be approaching a company and asking them if there's an opportunity for you to work with them. You know, you don't know what expansion things they have. They might really like what you have to say, but also creating opportunities in terms of business. Where is there a need in the market? And some different career options to think about. I used to work, as Carolyn said, I used to work at a university. I was an academic advisor. And so, what my primary job there in that capacity was to help students map their educational path and match it to their career goals. And that's how I became interested in career coaching, because I saw there was a gap in how people didn't really necessarily know how to tie those things together, or they hadn't really thought about what they wanted to do after so long. And the reason I say that is because widowhood is a lot like what our student body was, in that they were returning students. So they were working adults that were coming back to maybe change careers, look at something different. And so many times they felt they had to start all over again. That is absolutely not true. If you're thinking about returning to school, you can pick up where you left off, even if you change career paths. There'll still be things that can be used as electives or whatever. So returning to school is an option. You may have the ability to be able to do that right away, depending upon your financial resources, or be able to get student loans or Pell Grants to help you with that. You might want to look at just part-time work, and that may be able to supplement the things that you already have coming in. If there's a pension from your spouse, something like that. Looking for full-time work, obviously, entrepreneurship. Freelance contract gig work is huge right now, especially with 2020. So many people had to pivot in what they were working in because there were changes. And so they started to get freelance work. They jumped from one job to another independently as a contractor. And there are actually websites where you can find jobs that are specifically geared toward that. And then volunteer work. Volunteer work actually falls in both categories. Volunteer work is a way that you can fulfill your passion. And so it might not be something that's going to bring money in, but it can fulfill that void that you might feel like you have by not pursuing your passion in your current work until you get to the point where your work actually does that. But you can also gain experience through volunteer work to be able to transition into new work. You also can work for a temp agency and be able to get a variety of experience in different settings. Internship, if you do return to school, getting an internship so that you have experience in a new area. You can cross train with a current employer. That might not be something that they do. It's something you can ask if you can do. If you want to move to a different department, see if there's any way you can cross train or even work under a mentor, maybe different hours at the same job if you want to move from one location to another, from one department to another, or work under a mentor outside of there. So those are different ways to gain new experience to be able to get into an area that you don't currently work in. And another planning tip that I'd like to share, and I mentioned the name of it earlier, but not the detail of it. So this planning tip is actually setting SMART goals, and that can help you develop your dream life. And goal setting for SMART goals is actually to make your goals very specific. So be detail oriented in your goals, measurable. So you want to be able to, for instance, if you want to raise, just say, I want to raise, but what do you want? You increase your salary by 20% at the next job? Do you want to work 10 less hours per week. So make it measurable, make it achievable. And it's very interesting. There is a book called U Squared, and that book talks a lot about things being achievable, but there's two ways to look at things being achievable. One is to make incremental changes. So what is the next step is achievable now. And once you achieve that, you go into the next thing. But the book U Squared actually talks about making quantum leaps. It's a tiny little read. It's only like 30, 40 pages. But it's all about making quantum leaps by skipping those middle steps. And so you would actually make your goal achievable by setting the parameters to allow you to jump past 3 or 4 different levels. And so, in whichever way you choose to do it, just make sure that your goals are achievable and that they're realistic. And so you want them to be realistic in terms of how will they fit with your current values, your current lifestyle, and what's going to really help to enhance that for you. And then you want them to be timely. And basically what that means is to set a deadline. That doesn't mean that the deadline cannot change, but many times goals stay dreams only because people don't attach deadlines that when they need to get things done by. So that's a very easy way to be able to move forward with your goals. So then specific steps to achieve your goals would be to establish your goals, create an action plan to accomplish the goals, note any obstacles as they arise. So it could be that you want to go to work at a business and you find out that that business closed. A lot of companies did in 2020. Or they took away the work from home option or whatever. So note any obstacles as they arise and then create an action plan to overcome the obstacles. So you're creating an action plan both to achieve the goal, but also to overcome the obstacles. And so this is a planning tool that you can create just on paper, or you can create a spreadsheet like an Excel spreadsheet. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to create a goal, the action plan, the obstacle, and the obstacle action plan. And so what you're going to do is list the goals, and then action plans can be one item or they can be multiple items. But you would list a separate goal on each line and then work to be able to achieve those things. And then find an accountability partner and celebrate your wins. And so when you find an accountability partner, just to give you a little bit of better idea of what that is. So an accountability partner basically allows you to check in with them regularly. So maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks, but it could be a close friend or a family member that really has your best interest at heart, and they just ask you, so how's it going? To have you come up with a name for your business yet? Have you applied for any jobs yet? And then you can kind of give them an unofficial progress report about the accomplishments that you have made. And it can be someone that you trust and that is willing to actually work with you on this to do regular periodic check-ins. Or you could actually hire a certified career coach. They can help you through that process as well. It might be a little bit more formal accountability because they will be giving you specific assignments to work on to help you through that process of what do I do next? I don't know where to go next. So one is a close support system. The other is actually going to offer you structure and be able to create some guidance through that process. And then I said, celebrate your wins. You've got to celebrate your wins. Breaking each goal into manageable action steps. They become either little or big action steps that you get done, but they keep moving you forward. So you have to celebrate your wins so that you feel like you're making progress, because as you're going through this, it is a process. It is not an event. And so you need to really look at it in terms of the fact that you're moving forward. And some days are going to be little tiny things, like you put something out in an email. It could be huge, like you got a job interview. So celebrate your wins. Always keep that in mind. And it helps to maintain that positivity. So now what we're going to do is just take a couple of more minutes, and I want you to write down any goals that you currently know, any goals that you currently have, And what I want you to do long term is actually to create this as a working document and add to your goals as they come up. And then right now, you're only focusing on the goals. If you already have an action plan, you can list what that is too. And there can be multiple steps. So your goal could be, you could have a big goal of changing jobs, but your smaller goal could be that you want to apply for 3 jobs this week. And then what is your action plan? How are you going to do that? So just write down a couple of goals that you might have already thought about. And if you already have action plans, but you haven't implemented them yet, go ahead and write those down. Obstacles, obstacle action plan, that's for later. So we're going to take maybe about 2 more minutes for that. Move on in the interest of time. And this is, again, a working document. This will be your transformational action plan. It's personalized, so every individual person will have their own. At this point in the game, you either have a couple of goals or you need some time to think about it. So if you had some goals down, that's great. And if you need some time to think about it, then this is something that you can just create as a working document for you to move forward. So today we wanted to assess, determine, and explore. And so we assessed where you currently are in your career business. We determined what your ideal work life would look like. And we have explored options to achieve that dream. So one of my little sayings is dream big, work smart, and that's using the SMART goals again. So put your dream out there. Have the courage to pursue it. Stay inspired as you're going through this. Know that it's a work in progress. And when it all comes together, then you'll have great harmony. One of the other quotes that I really love is, you never know how strong you are until strong is the only choice you have. And so let's see you be really, really strong and just really work toward getting these dream goals, this dream career, in place that you want to do. And so that you can have that happy work life that you want in widowhood. Does anyone have any questions?
We had a little bit of discussion. If you guys have some questions, someone actually had talked about the problem in California with AB5 and needing to create sole proprietorship in order to obtain non-employee income, or to create LLCs, which impacts the amount of taxes that you'll be paying versus as completing a 1099. I do know that. I don't know if you have any input there.
I know that is a recent change. I don't know. I'm not completely familiar with it. I know that it did occur. I'm going to think like maybe about just within the last couple of months. And one thing that I will say is that with COVID, everything has been such a moving target. They're going to operate this way, they're going to operate that way. So I don't know if this is going to turn into one of those things, because I imagine they may be getting some pushback with it because it is a change. But in the meantime, you just need to be able to do that. And if you're looking at having a business, or you do currently have a business and you now have to put employees on payroll instead of being able to 1099 them, that needs to factor into your cost. It's a cost of doing business. And that's just how it is when you have a business. So just keep that in mind.
Beverly said the ABS became law in 2019, no more 1099 at all.
Really? It was that long ago? Okay. Someone that I spoke with had, I got the impression from her that it was just in the last few months. I didn't realize it had been that long. So yeah, so that is pre-COVID. So then it's probably something you're going to deal with. So yes, I would just say you just have to factor that in as a cost of doing business, and you will have those additional taxes, and that will be passed on to your customers.
Come to Florida, the taxes are, we don't have Florida state tax. Oh my gosh. And that's part of it, really, you know, wherever it is that you actually live, abiding by those rules. This is why certain people live in certain parts of the country who actually have their own sole proprietorship. I've owned my own company since 1997. And so it's you know, I've been down a long road and through a lot of changes, that's for sure. But let's go ahead and talk about your strategy call and your offer today. And I'll just put this little image up in the information where people can meet you.
Perfect. So yes, so I have a special offer. I really appreciate everyone showing up today. I hope that you have gotten value in this. This is something that I can help. I am certified in career coaching and business coaching. I do specialize in hospitality because I love to travel, but I started out with career and business coaching, and I still, still do that. It's never 100% just because you specialize in a particular area. So I am certified and can help. And so I have packages on career coaching. I have packages on business coaching. I also have the transformational travel package. And basically what transformational travel is, just to give you a little idea, is it's traveling with a purpose. So it's using travel as a way to make transformational change in your life. And so it's being able to determine what next step you want, how you want to transform, but getting away from everything and using travel. So it can be everything from getting over fear of heights and going and climbing mountains to being able to be at a luxury resort and implementing self-care. So I don't do the bookings. I coach you through that process. So setting the goals, keeping you on task with the goals as you travel, and then finalizing that transformation as you return. So what I'm doing as a special offer, and this is available through May 25th, you can reach out to me if you're interested in this, but I have $300 off of any of my coaching packages that are 3 months or longer. And so it can be any of the packages that I have, as long as they're at least 3 months in length. And so you're welcome to contact me, and we'll set up a complimentary consultation, complimentary strategy call, so that I can talk you through the process of what that's going to look like, what needs you might have, and how I can help you specifically. And then for one lucky attendee, I have a book. It's a favorite read of mine, Millions Within, by David Nagel. And this is how to manifest exactly what you want and have an epic life. So it's perfect because, as we talked in the beginning, for hashtag Be a Millionaire Day, you have that ability within you to be able to do that. And this is a mindset book that basically helps you to rework your mindset so that you can see all the possibilities. And so we have one lucky winner, and Carolyn actually is going to draw a name for that.
Well, the lucky winner is Carolyn Townsend.
That's me.
Great.
Thank you so much.
So what I would do is
welcome.
actually I will order this from Amazon to go directly to you. And so enjoy it. He's fantastic. He's a mentor coach that I follow, actually. So he does a lot of things on mindset, and he'll really be able to help you make that million if you haven't already. And then last, I'm going to just have my contact information up if anyone needs to like snap a picture of that or whatever.
Yeah, and I put that all in the chat for you guys to grab if you want to grab that now. I'm going to end the call because we're at our time limit, but thank you so much, Shelley, for all these great tips. You know, it's like everything you discussed, it's a process. You know, the video recording will be available to you, but I'm going to start recording now so that we can actually talk more and get into more individual questions. But thank you, everybody. Stay on, but thank you, everybody, for coming.